It's strange how the places we feel the most secure can become the sources of our greatest fears. Our homes are supposed to be our sanctuaries, the one place in the world where we can lock the doors, shut out the dangers of the outside world, and truly be safe. But what happens when the danger isn't trying to break down your door? What happens when it finds a way to slip through the cracks of the digital world right into the heart of your fortress? This story was sent to me by a viewer who wishes to remain anonymous. It serves as a chilling reminder that in our connected age, a locked door means very little when your window to the world is a glowing screen. For the sake of the story, we'll call the person this happened to Julie. Julie was having one of those nights. It was late, around 11 p.m., and she was bored. Too wired to sleep, but with nothing to do. She lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where the most exciting thing to happen all week is a neighbor getting a new lawnmower. So, like many of us do when we're looking for a distraction, she opened her laptop. She found herself on one of those random video chat sites, the kind that were popular a few years back. The premise is simple. The site pairs you with another random user somewhere in the world for a brief, anonymous video conversation. Most of the time, it's just awkward small talk or people trying to get a reaction. Julie had been on for about an hour, clicking next on a parade of uninteresting or downright strange people. She was about to close the laptop and try to get some sleep when a new face popped up on the screen. He seemed normal enough. A man in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, with a friendly smile and kind eyes. His name was Chris. "Hi," he said, his voice clear. "Hey," Julie replied, a little surprised at the normalcy of the interaction. They made small talk for a few minutes. He asked her where she was from, what she was studying. It was all very standard. But then the conversation took a slightly unsettling turn. "That's a nice gaming chair you have," he said, gesturing to the corner of her room, which was just barely visible on camera. It was a black and red Secret Lab chair, the Dota 2 edition she had saved up for months to buy. "Oh, thanks," Julie said, feeling a prickle of unease. "I notice things," he said, his friendly smile never wavering. But now it seemed less genuine, more practiced. He looked a little closer at his screen. "And that pink comforter looks really soft. Your room seems cozy." A cold feeling started to creep up Julie's spine. It was one thing to notice an object, but commenting on the details of her bedroom, the place where she was sitting right now, felt different. It felt invasive. The illusion of distance the internet provides suddenly felt very, very thin. "Yeah, well," she stammered, unsure of what to say. "I should probably get going. It's getting late." As she reached for her mouse to click the next button, Chris's face on the screen began to contort. His friendly smile twisted into a grotesque, exaggerated grimace, his eyes widening. For a second, the video feed glitched and stuttered, and then the connection was gone. A loading symbol spun in the center of the black window. Julie let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "What a creep," she muttered to herself, her heart still beating a little too fast. She decided that was enough internet for one night. But just as she was about to close the laptop, the loading icon disappeared. A new chat window opened. This person was different. It was a woman bathed in a sinister red light. She had blonde hair, dark, dramatic makeup, and a wide, uneasy smile that didn't reach her eyes. She wore white gloves and held up a small white dry erase board. On it, in messy black marker, were the words, "Wanna see a magic trick?" Julie hesitated. The encounter with Chris had left her on edge, but her curiosity got the better of her. This was just another online prank, she told herself. It couldn't hurt. She gave a small, hesitant nod. The woman's smile widened. She flipped the board over. On the other side, it said, "Pick a card." She then fanned out a deck of playing cards, holding them up to her camera. Julie felt a little silly, but she played along. "Okay," she said, pointing at the screen. "That one. The 2 of spades." The woman in the video nodded slowly, her eyes locked on Julie's. She pulled the 2 of spades from the deck, showed it to the camera, and then made it disappear with a theatrical flourish. She then picked up her whiteboard again. She wiped it clean and wrote a new message. "Look under your laptop." Julie froze. A wave of ice-cold dread washed over her. "No, it's impossible." Her room was quiet. The only sound was the faint hum of the computer. Her hands trembled as she slowly, reluctantly lifted the edge of her laptop. And there it was. Tucked just underneath was a single playing card, the 2 of spades. Julie snatched her hand back as if she'd been burned. She stared at the card, then back at the woman on the screen, who was now holding up another sign. "Wanna see another trick?" "No," Julie whispered, her voice shaking. How did you do that?" The woman's smile vanished. Her expression hardened into a cold, menacing glare. She wiped the board clean again, her movements slow and deliberate. The new message made Julie's blood run cold. "Leave, and you'll be sorry, Julie." She knew her name. Panic seized her. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a trick. This was real. Julie slammed her laptop shut, but it didn't turn off. The red glow from the woman's room still seeped from between the screen and the keyboard. She fumbled with the power button, holding it down, but nothing happened. The computer was no longer under her control. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she stared at the screen. And then she saw movement. In the woman's video feed, a figure stepped into the frame behind her. It was Chris, the friendly guy from the earlier chat. He put his hands on the woman's shoulders, a smug, predatory look on his face. He had been a scout. He had been checking to see if she was alone. The woman, his accomplice, held up one final sign. It was the last thing Julie saw on the screen before everything went dark. "Time for my final trick." A floorboard creaked outside her bedroom door. Julie's scream was cut short as the door to her room swung open. It wasn't her parents. It wasn't anyone she knew. The last thing she remembered was a gloved hand reaching for her, the world dissolving into a terrifying, deafening roar of static. When she woke up, she wasn't in her room anymore. She was nowhere. A sterile, white, empty space that stretched on forever. She was standing, but felt no floor beneath her feet. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. She was trapped. Somewhere in a dark room bathed in red light, the woman smiled as she finished her work. She took a small black external hard drive and carefully applied a label to it. The label read, "Julie." She then opened a drawer, revealing a collection of other drives, each with a different name. Chris, Dave, Kim, Sarah, Dad, Emily, Mom, Zoe. She placed Julie's drive neatly in the empty slot, right next to the others. With a final, satisfied smile, she closed the drawer,
plunging them all into darkness. Julie and all the others were now just files in a collection, and to this day, their families and friends have no idea what happened to them. They just vanished. All they left behind was a cold laptop and a single, chilling playing card.